You know, money is a weird thing. Learning how to get it and have it, you've got to change some habits. And today I want to talk to you about 3 financial taboos that might be preventing you from making money and eventually producing generational wealth. So check it out. If you've not come from money and you're literally trying to break that financial chain and then become someone of financial means in this life and pass it on to your children and grandchildren, you're definitely going to want to watch this video. First of all, money is undeniably considered an uncomfortable topic. And by not discussing it, or in some cases over discussing it, you can unintentionally fall into habits that prevent you from generating more of it. And today I'm going to share with you like 3 really bad money habits that broke people have. And by broke, I really mean middle class, because, you know, making $100,000 or $200,000 a year, you now know that's not a lot of money. You're still living check to check. So let's talk about how you break the pattern so that someday you can have the money that you really want. So, I mean, here's the reality. Like, people store their money differently. Some people put it in a bank. Some people just put it in a white bin. I like to keep loads of money around. And when I do my events, I'll literally have 500, 600, 700 people that will come to my event. And I've got a process to find kind of the financially most taboo, messed up people when it comes to money. And I put them on my stage. And then I literally just start handing them piles of money because I'm really curious to watch how they react. And, you know, as you might imagine, they freak out. There's people out there that are scared of money. Like, money is taboo, like money is uncomfortable, and it terrifies them. And they come to my event so that not only I can give them the blueprints on how to become a multimillionaire in real estate or how to buy and sell businesses, but I also got to like shift their financial mindset so that they like stop like trying to cast money out of their life. I'll tell you something funny about money. When I bought my very first house, like family and friends, they came by to celebrate with me. They're like, wow, you know, you're a college kid, you bought this house, we're so happy for you. 2 years later, I'm still in college. I upgraded to a nicer house, but it was still kind of an average house. And again, family and friends came over and they're like, man, we're so proud of you. This is so cool. 2 years later, I had just barely graduated college and I moved into a 10,000 square foot custom built home on a golf course right outside of Sundance, Provo Canyon. And when people walked into that home, it was like a $2 million home almost, they were literally wetting themselves and the weirdest energy came into my space. And I was like, aren't you going to receive me the way you did on my last 2 homes? And they did not. And that was the day I realized, man, people are really weird. Now, I knew what they had to be thinking. They're like, drugs. I mean, really, you literally just like graduated college and you're driving Escalades and BMWs and traveling the world and this is what you live in, like drugs. Now, my family knew me better than that, but literally they were like, how did you do this? Like, you go to college so you can like get an entry-level job and work for someone else and climb that ladder for the next 40 years. What do you mean you graduated college in like a dream home? Like, they just didn't get it. But I tell you what I did get. I had mentors that taught me a total different perspective on money, which is why today I'm talking about the 3 no-nos I used to do that I had to break. And this will help you break that financial bondage. Number 1 is not discussing money with friends and family. Did you know that only 38% of Americans are comfortable discussing their bank account balances with family and close friends, according to Bankrate? That makes finances a less popular conversation topic than politics and religion. But here's the weird thing. Only by talking about money can you learn about people's mistakes so that you can learn from them. Or you can dismantle their old wives' tales and myths. You can find out the common misconceptions that people have around the game of money. This is kind of the weird thing that happens when you start talking about it. When people come to my events and we're like, let's talk about money, it's weird. Even entrepreneurs, like, they pucker their anuses and they start freaking out. But let me tell you something, if you come into the Krohn home, do you know what happens every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m.? Well, I have my own private teachers that come into my home during the week. My kids are privately educated by the teachers I select, not the system. And on Tuesday morning, we're doing 30 minutes of money talk with dad. And we get together and I teach my kids about how I make money. I teach them about real estate. I teach them about arbitrage. I teach them about buying and selling and building businesses. My kids are like trained up on how to like pick stocks and on the NASDAQ and the stock exchanges. My kids have ample ways of making over $1,000 a month, but then because there's no allowance, they're responsible for buying their clothes and fixing up their rooms and buying presents for their kids' friends, you know, whatever they're doing, they're responsible for all their money. So money in my home is actually a very, very popular conversation topic because I want them to get used to talking about money and I can share with them my mistakes, I can share the scary stuff, I can share with them the good news and the positive things. And what I'm doing is I'm giving them an opportunity as they enter adulthood to now be way more financially mature, to have language around the conversation of money and talk about it so they don't become one of those private people that are like, oh yeah, we don't talk about money. That's for poor people. Number 2, lending money to friends and family. Half of US adults say that they have loaned money to someone with the expectation of being paid back. And of those that lent money or paid for a group expense with the expectation of being paid back, 42% say that they've lost money and 9% say that they experienced damage with their credit score. And so this is something that poor people do. They literally they lend money based on emotions and just letting people come in and out of their worlds, sharing money based on this idea that, no, you're gonna pay me back. This is something that poor people do. Lending money to a friend and family member at the end of the day is actually risky because those are the people that can take advantage of you. While it is a generous gesture, it can backfire. It can lead to awkward situations and situations where money isn't repaid, which is why I do have a policy with family is that I either lend them money under very specific terms and it's a loan for something that is going to make them money, or money is just a gift. I'm giving it to you and I actually don't want anything back. Those are the two healthiest habits that I've replaced this lending money notion with, and it's worked out better for me. If someone says, well, I have an expense, can you help me fix up my car? And you're like, lend the money and then I'm gonna pay you back. So often in those situations, you don't get paid back. You get left holding the bag and then there's now this damaged relationship and there's this emotional damage. Don't put yourself in that situation. But if someone comes to you and says, hey, I have a proposal and I wanna show you what I need this money for, and the purpose is to make money and do these things, I will entertain that. On the other hand, if someone says, well, I do need money, I'm not gonna lend it. If it's for something personal, I get to choose whether I say no or I actually give it to them. Early on, I had this handyman that would help me fix up some of my homes, and he was always needing money for something. And so I tried to give him work whenever I could, but sometimes I lent him money and he 100% of the time never paid me back. And that's when I started learning the game. But even just recently, I lent $1 million to a buddy of mine for a business transaction, and there was interest associated with it. And then the loan went into default. It looks like I'm never gonna get the money back, even though it was collateralized. And you know what? I don't feel bad about that because it was a financial business decision. And so what I'm sharing with you is that when it comes to lending money, make it something official or make it a gift, but don't do something weird in the middle. The third thing though is probably the biggest faux pas of old, and it's super commonplace. And it's saving money, but not investing money. Saving is not in and of itself a bad principle. In fact, it should be considered a necessary strategy for nearly everyone. Problem is that most people, once they start saving money, they get into an accumulation mindset. And they're like, oh yeah, dude, I'm just stockpiling as much money as I can. And when I was in my 20s, I saved this amount of money. In the 30s, it was this amount of money. And then in my 40s, it was this amount of money. And then look at all this. Look at all this money that I've saved. And it's like, cool, you saved a few $100,000. And now you're at retirement age. Like, what are you gonna do? Because you live off of 80 grand a year. So here's 1 year, here's 2 years, here's 3 years, and looks like you ran out of money. How did that happen? Because you got in the trap of just saving money, not investing money. Do not save or stockpile cash indefinitely. You should be saving it and stashing it for investments where you can double, triple, and quadruple your money over time. It's like real estate. When I put money in real estate, on my last 2,130 rentals, I averaged 60% a year on my money. What that means is that my money doubles every couple years. So it's just like, oh, I saved this money. I'm gonna put it in my house, and if every 2 or 3 years it doubles, what will happen over 10 years? Well, first of all, along the way, I'm gonna sell this house, I'm gonna trade it for 3 more. By year 10, I'm gonna sell those and trade them for 5 or 6 more. And now, it's like in the New Testament, the story of the talents is that I'm not burying my talents. That's what saving your money looks like. Instead, what you're doing is you're putting it out responsibly. You're putting it in places where it can grow. And it is not by saving money that you actually have enough for retirement. It's by investing money that you ultimately end up producing, maybe not even just retirement, but financial freedom. I was financially free at the age of 26 because I found a way to take the little bit of money I have and I parlayed it into 25 properties, each producing about $500 a month of positive cash flow. So on 25 homes, that was over $12,000 a month. When I graduated college, I had $150,000 a year income that just came in whether I worked or not. It's not from saving money, it's from investing. Clearly someone was helping me financially in the beginning, and that was my mentor. This is an individual that sat me down, gave me a game plan and said, Kris, follow these steps and I'll show you how to grow your money. And all I did was follow their advice, and guess what? I became a multimillionaire in my 20s. If you're looking for a mentor, I'm offering to be that mentor to you for free, as in I'm gonna give you a free game plan, and I'm not gonna charge you anything for it. I've trained 30 people on my team to basically deliver custom Kris Krohn game plans. So if you're ever wondering like, okay, well, what would Kris do in my situation where I have all this debt? Or what would Kris do in my situation where I've only put money in a 401k? Or what would Kris do if you owned a home and it had a bunch of equity in it? If you wanna know what I would do, click the link below and submit your contact information, and a member of my team is gonna reach out and say, let me give you a free Kris Krohn game plan. Let me show you what Kris would do. In most situations, people walk away saying, I did not know that I had options, and now I know what I can do if I really wanna be financially successful, at least according to Kris Krohn. So if you want a free game plan right now, click the link below, put in your contact information, and let me and my team reach out to you, get in touch, and give you a free multi-million-dollar game plan. Kris, why would I want a game plan, bro? Like, I don't have any money saved up. I got nothing. Shoot, sounds like my situation when I got started. Remember, I took like $3,300, put it into a home, turn it into tens of thousands of dollars, put it into another home, turn it into tens of thousands of dollars, put it in another home. If you got $3,000 and that's it, I can show you how to be successful in real estate. In fact, I can show you 5 different ways of being successful in real estate. And if you want to know what they are, click right here and let me show you 5 different ways to successfully invest $3,000.